Well, sometimes you need to have a fresh start. And I think that's what Lincoln Riley ended up deciding in this particular case, given that, the numbers were not changing for Mike Stoops' defense. They struggled last year in the playoff game against Georgia. They struggled against Army, getting them off the field, and then obviously the big numbers put up by Sam Ehlinger and the Longhorns, I think, were the straw that broke the camel's back. It was a very, very tough decision, as you can only imagine, for Lincoln Riley, given that Mike Stoops is the brother of Bob Stoops, who was the guy that handed off maybe one of the great jobs in all of college football. Well, there's no reason to not think so. They've played much better defensively. They certainly have added to their offensive weaponry with Lil Jordan Humphrey and Colin Johnson outside. Those guys are outstanding. And when you incorporated Ehlinger's legs in the game, I think he had 19 carries against the Sooners. When you incorporated that, you forced them into playing him as a run threat, and that gives you one-on-one opportunities outside, and those big fellas took advantage of them with both having a touchdown catch. There's no reason that the Longhorns, barring injury, won't be factoring in the race all the way through the conclusion of November. There are two people pulling hard for that. Number one would be Bob Bowlesby. Now, he can never say it publicly, the commissioner of the Big 12, but what more fun would it be to have his two iconic brands head-to-head in that kind of setting? And the second guy would be Jerry Jones, who's been trying to get that Red River rivalry from the Cotton Bowl over to Jerry's World, but now he actually would have it, and he could show them firsthand what sort of hospitality he would provide. Listen, it's way too early, as you pointed out, but it's fun to think about. But TCU has something to say about it. West Virginia certainly has something to say about it, and I think we're going to have some great football played before we get there. But it's okay to kind of wander down the road and see what that might look like. Well, I'm going to lean with West Virginia right now just because I trust Will Grier. Now, he was not at his best this last week, having turned the ball over 4 times, 3 times via interception against Kansas, and he knows he's going to have to play much better. But Tony Gibson on the defensive side has proven that they've got a defense this year in Morgantown, which is really critical. They've got a tough challenge this week against the Iowa State Cyclones up in Ames, but I expect them to play better given that they'll think that that was not their best performance last weekend. And if they keep improving, I think they have the stuff, because of all those great wideouts to go along with Will Grier, to handle both the Sooners and the Longhorns. Well, given that it's year one, it is. I mean, goodness gracious. And Kentucky was no accident. They came in there with a great defense. As a matter of fact, the defense got them into the game at 14-7, picking up that fumble and scoring with it. Kentucky is a real deal. Now, they've got to fix some things offensively if they're going to stay alive in the East race. And we'll wait and see if Mark Stoops can get that done. But I'm very impressed with Jimbo Fisher and his tutelage with Kellen Mond. And I'm also equally impressed with Mike Elko and what he's meant to that defense. That was really, really fun defense to watch the other night, and certainly give credit where credit's due to that crowd. They were unbelievable the Clemson night, and they were at fever pitch again watching Kentucky.